Today, we're going to break down a classic business tool, the Boston Consulting Group Matrix, or as you'll almost always hear it called, the BCG Matrix. So think about a huge company like a Procter & Gamble or an Apple. They have so many different products out there. How on earth do they decide which ones get the big marketing push and which ones, well, quietly disappear? Believe me, there's a strategic logic behind all of it. And that's exactly where the BCG Matrix comes into play. It's a really simple visual way for a company to look at everything it sells, its entire portfolio, and figure out where to put its money to get the best results. Okay, let's get into how it works. The whole thing is built on two simple but really powerful ideas. First, you've got market growth rate. That just tells us how fast the entire market for a certain product is growing. And second, there's relative market share, which is basically how strong is our product compared to our biggest rival. So when you plot those two things against each other, you get this classic 2x2 grid. The vertical line, the y-axis, represents market growth, going from low to high. And the horizontal line, the x-axis, shows market share, from high on the left to low on the right. Every single product a company sells can be placed somewhere inside this grid. All right, these two axes create four distinct sections, or quadrants, and each one has its own unique name and tells you a clear strategy to follow. Let's break them down. First up, in the top left, we have the stars. These are the rock stars of your product line. They have a high share of a market that's growing fast. Think about a brand new must-have smartphone right after it launches. Stars bring in a lot of cash, but they also need a ton of investment to keep that growth going and to fend off the competition. Next, down in the bottom left, you'll find the cash cows. Now, these are the established leaders in markets that aren't really growing much anymore. The key here is, since they already have a high market share, they don't need huge investments. In fact, a lot of yesterday's stars become today's cash cows. Think of a classic brand like Coca-Cola. They're just reliable profit-making machines, and the cash they generate is absolutely crucial for funding other parts of the business.
Now, over in the top right, things get interesting. We have the question marks. They're in markets that are growing like crazy, but they have a low market share. Their future is a big, well, a question mark. This could be a tech company's new experimental gadget. So you're faced with a huge decision. Do you pour money into it and try to turn it into a star? Or do you cut your losses and get out?
And finally, in the bottom right corner, we have the dogs. These are products with a low share of a market that isn't growing. They pretty much just break even and don't really have much of a future. So companies usually look to phase these products out or sell them off. That way, they free up cash and resources for their more promising products. You know, just plotting products on a chart is one thing, but the real power of the matrix is turning all that analysis into actual, concrete action. By using this matrix, managers can see their entire product lineup at a single glance and make smart decisions about where the money should go. The ultimate goal is to create a balanced portfolio. You want to use the money from your cash cows to fund your stars and your most promising question marks while getting rid of the dogs. This historical example really shows you what's at stake. You had Dow Chemical, which focused its money on its high-growth businesses, and no surprise, it grew steadily. On the other hand, Monsanto spent too much on its low-growth businesses and just couldn't launch new stars. The result? Its business stagnated. A clear portfolio strategy really does make all the difference. So after all that, what's the one key thing you should take away from this? At the end of the day, the BCG Matrix is a powerful tool because it simplifies everything. It helps companies see their products clearly so they can make those tough choices, which ones to invest in for growth, which ones to maintain for profit, and which ones it's time to say goodbye to. The real challenge, of course, is knowing that a product's position is never permanent.